Let's talk in English on this channel for once, because I talked to Barry from PES Universe about PES 2020. He played the game, of course. We will be discussing lots of things about the game, but we didn't even get it all, so there might be a part 2. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and Barry, thanks for your time. It was so much fun to talk to you. Pardon my English, by the way. It has been such a long time since I did this. I'm so rusty. I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of podcasty, but with footage. Enjoy. So, the first thing I want to talk about, because we are going towards everything new, because there is so much new, of course, is the new name, eFootball.
yeah, it's a controversial choice, I think, to say the least. But
yeah, looking at all the articles, some like it, some don't.
I think people are still going to call it PES 2020. Like,
course.
I think a lot, like all the fans are still going to call it PES 20 or PES 2020.
But they said that's the reason why there's still PES in the name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it probably just reinvents, I suppose, especially heading into the 20s, like PES 2021, 22, just to maybe go that esports route. It kind of rebrands it without having to force it too much, because obviously if they have it as eFootball, it's kind of new logo, new style, new color scheme. It's kind of self-explanatory that it is kind of a branch off into a different direction.
Yeah.
So while staying true to PES, you know, it's still called PES, so best of both worlds, I suppose. If they had just called it eFootball 2020, I think that would have been an issue.
Yeah, of course. But I just like that it's called football now.
Yeah, just to get the football into the title.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely a good shout. Like,
I mean, if you see eFootball, then people know what it is. People that don't know about football games, eFootball, yeah, that tells that it's a football game. If you see PES 2020, yeah, what the hell is that? You know, if you don't know about it. But what I saw in articles is that some people feel like eFootball sounds like really arcadey. That's what I read. I think it was Eurogamer that was like, it doesn't need eFootball. It sounds so cheap and arcadey.
Yeah, I think people are kind of, it's like with everything in PES. Like, some people are for it, some people are against it. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference in the long run.
Oh, it's a name. It's a name.
Yeah, and I like the logo, and I like the color scheme and stuff that they've branched out into. So I think it's a small detail, but for some people it's going to be a big thing. Once they keep the ethos of PES and, you know, the definition of what a PES game is, I think people by this time next year, I think people will just take it as it is. I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue there.
Of course.
Every time when could be wrong.
Yeah, but every time when something is new, then it's not nice, you know.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
always that thing. But is eFootball linked with PK's organization, or is it just?
As far as I know, no. It's not from what's been released so far. So it's pretty much just rebranding it as eFootball PES 2020 as a name change, a logo change. As far as I know, or as far as I can say now, there isn't. Now I presume that they'll have plans. Like, obviously we still have the Project 11 thing that they're calling it. So I presume that we're going to have plans further along between now and launch, where we actually learn what their plans are for the esports side of the game. Because of course we've already seen that they're remastering and rebranding Master League. We haven't seen anything on My Club. We haven't seen anything on the other game modes. So I presume we are going to learn a lot between now and launch of what the actual esports of the eFootball part is going to entail. So,
but the name is not linked to like PK's organization. He didn't like finance stuff. As
far as I know, no. As far as I know.
So isn't that like a copyright issue then?
Maybe it is. Maybe I'm sure that they solved all that before this.
Yeah, of course. No, but people automatically thought it was like, oh, they are going with eFootball Pro, you know, and it's like a partnership, and that's why it's in the name and all that stuff.
Yeah, and of course, eFootball itself is a lot of people, when the name started to kind of come out, people were like, "Oh, they're doing an eFootball event." Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a mode in the game, and it's like, no, it's just that's the name of the title now. That's the name of the game going forward. So,
yeah. Well, I didn't know that yet. I really thought it was linked to PK's eFootball Pro.
Yeah,
so that's nice to know.
Who knows? But I don't think so.
So, well, let's just go to the gameplay, because there's a lot of talk about the gameplay. There's a lot to talk about the gameplay, even though some people think it just looks like Pro Evo 19. Well, yeah, it has players on the pitch, 22, and it has a ball. So, yeah, not much is going to change with that. There's so much for me to talk about, and it's so good to have you, by the way.
Thanks,
because I'm really jelly that you played the game. But it's really good to hear how you felt playing the game, and what I see with all the gameplay footage. Because some people say, of course, you can only judge it by playing the game, and that's partly true in my opinion. But when you really look hard enough, you can see so many new things. But it's like a completely different game to me. What I always like to explain is, because there are so many different opinions and different outlooks to how the game must be or should be, that I come from not really liking Pro Evo from 2008 to 2014. I didn't like those, even 2013, and 2015 was okay-ish, and 16, and every year it was like better, but not like die hard better. It was not that when PES 2016 came out, I was like, okay, this is better, but it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna go all into it. And like since PES 2018, I really started to dig the game again. Yeah. But in hindsight, with still the laser sight shooting and stuff like that, way too accurate, way too arcadey actually. The dribbling, of course, people like that dribbling more than PES 19 because it was way more sticky. Like there was less momentum. Yeah. And I didn't like that there was less momentum. Yeah. But I do realize that people like the control of that dribbling, of course, because you feel like you have more control. Yeah. But I still really like the momentum in 19, and 19 was like the first game for me. I loved it. I loved this year. This year, I for the first time, I really got the feeling of the old PS2 Pro Evos, and I love those PS2 Pro Evos.
There's a lot of elements in this year's game that harken back to those older games where it was kind of it was pick up and play to a point, but the more you played it, there was a better skill gap than PES 18
exactly.
or
17. There's a little bit of depth. It doesn't really feel the same. So for PES 2020, how was the flow of the game? The general flow of the game? Because to me, on the videos, it looks slower. But there's a big but. I play a lot of My Club. And My Club, of course, is always faster. Because, the amount
online. Crazy online madness.
Online madness, but also the team you create. Yeah. The team of superstars, the way faster. Yeah, of course. The abilities are even higher than like the legend matches I saw, the Barcelona team. When I played Kickoff like a few days ago, with also a broadcasting camera on PC. Like almost the same. You can customize your camera on PC. And I was like, whoa, this is so much slower than My Club. You might sometimes forget how much slower the normal Kickoff game is. So I don't know if you played PES 19 and played a Kickoff game after you played on E3, but how would you say the pace of the game was?
Yeah, when I came home from E3, the first thing I did, obviously, was sit down and play some PES 2019. And I was
Kickoff or My Club?
I was depressed. Normal, I just played a normal match. So I pretty much, when I was at E3, I was playing 1v1, obviously offline, just normal exhibition match. So when I came home, I played PES 2019. I think I even played Barcelona versus Arsenal, just to get a feel for, no online, no My Club madness, none of that, just pretty much just 1v1 local multiplayer.
Yeah, and it compares greatly to what you played at E3, so I love it that you did that.
It's kind of, because I wanted to, for myself, before getting carried away with like, oh, this is ridiculously slow and this is way slower, but it's a lot. What I would say is it's not just the speed of the ball or speed of the players. It's kind of the whole, there's a weightiness to PES 2020. Well, what I played at E3, the build that I played at E3, there's a weightiness to the players. Like, the players feel heavy, but they don't feel slow. They don't feel like you're grappling for control, or you're trying to turn with PK and he doesn't turn quick enough. It's kind of like a seamless transition from. The best way I could describe it is like in PES 2019, if you're spraying the ball around the pitch, it's possible, if you're a good player, to pass the ball to 10 of your outfield players, instant control, and be able to touch and go pretty much all around the pitch, switch the ball at ease, whatever you want to do. Even on one bar pass assist or whatever. It's easy enough to do, to spray, a 50, 60 yard ball up the pitch with PK, who probably wouldn't ever do that in real life, or somebody like, Umtiti or Jordi Alba or somebody like that. And you're talking about, they all turn into David Beckham when they're passing these crazy balls over the top. In PES 2020, there's kind of like a split second kind of animation mashup, is the best way of putting it, where it's like the ball is pinged to you, you have to like control it, you have to get it out from your feet, and then you have to pass it off. So instead of it just being one seamless animation where the ball is passed from Messi to PK or Busquets to PK, and PK instantly controls it, and you pretty much have the ball passed away before PK even has a foot in it. The ball is passed away. He's taken a touch and gone. That's kind of something that's really slowed down in what I played.
Oh, so, I like that.
Like, there was a few times, and I was even talking to Adam about this. There was a few times where I was under a high press. So, say somebody was playing me with Arsenal, they were pressing me high. And they were holding obviously square to bring in the extra man off the ball, and there was two people kind of chasing me at all times, like what you'd be doing in my club, I suppose, like constant gegenpress or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was under pressure with Busquets, who's obviously not the fastest player in the world, and I nearly like whiz a ball past back to Sergio Roberto or back to Umtiti or somebody that wouldn't be technically amazing. And there was a few times where, because I didn't use the first touch controls that's in now and that's really kind of at the forefront of what they're doing, because I didn't do that, PK would take a heavy touch and I get intercepted, Aubameyang go in and get a shot and goal or score. And it was kind of a nice mix between unpredictability and my own fault for not taking a first touch. Because in the demo, like, there's these little notification boxes come up. So if you miskick a ball, and I know you have probably a few screenshots, but if you miskick a ball, or nice. If you miskick a ball or you miscontrol a ball, it'll like pop up. So the screen will pop up and it'll be like, this is why this just kind of happened. So it kind of like schools you. It kind of forces you into say, okay, like, I have to start using the first touch here, or I have to set my body position if I'm shooting on goal or passing a ball. So yeah, I mean, going back to the original question you asked me, it is a lot different from PES 2019. It's not, listen, it's not going to be, if somebody picks up PES 2020 and when the demo comes out, it's not going to be, and I've said this time and time again, it's not it's still a Konami football game. It's still built on the Fox engine. It's kind of the game that we know and love, or else know and hate, depending on which side you're on, for the last, since 2014 really, except obviously, as you've said, it's improved year on year, depending on which side of the coin you're on. But it's still PES. Like, it's still, the players still feel like PES players. The dribbling is improved a lot, but it's still similar. This isn't going to be like a brand new, rip everything up from PES 2019, and PES 2020 is going to be a brand new experience. Like, that's not underselling the game, or like saying that that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing, because I think that the game for PES 2019, I think the core game is there. Like, I think it's very good. It's very strong. But I don't think that it's fair for people to say, oh, it looks like PES 2019. This is just PES 2019 reskinned with new squads. Like, I think that's very, very unfair to say that, because the game, when you're playing it in your hands, you can't play PES 2020 like PES 2019. You just can't. And the jump up, I was at E3 last year as well, obviously. And I was able to pretty much play PES 2019 the same way as I was playing 2018 from the year before. Not the first day or the second day, but by the third day, I was kind of thinking, okay, like ping pong passing is kind of easy to do. It's very assisted. You can't over hit a pass or under hit a pass. It's just kind of, you know, when you press X or you hold X, it's kind of the same thing. It'll go to the player that you pointed at. Whereas in this one, there was a lot of times where I was literally like hitting a true ball, maxing out the power bar, just out of pure habit of playing PES 2019 and playing my club a lot. And the ball would just go over the end line or into the keeper's arms, and you'd be saying like, Jesus, like what am I doing? Like this is, you know, you have to relearn a little bit. So yeah, that's to answer your question. Like it is a different game. It is a different game, but you know, it's not as if like 2K have made this game. It's not as if another developer has made it. It's a Konami football game that we've become accustomed to over the last few years. But I would say that it's much more than just a refined, retooled version of PES 2019. I think it's more than that. It just depends on what we get at launch. But compared to what I got and played over at E3, I was pretty much blown away by how the game felt. Even after my third day, and I played about 20 hours. Like I literally played 6-7 hours a day. They had to like kick me out. They were like, "Oh,
really?
Yeah." I was like, "We're finishing up here," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just finishing this game." And I really went over from like last year when I went to E3. Obviously, it was my first ever gaming event, like big gaming event. So I was kind of like starry-eyed, and I was kind of very hyped about it. But this year when I was playing PES 2020, I like went over as a fan, number one, but I went over from a technical point of view as well, number two. So I was kind of like, you know, is this good enough? Is this bad enough? And we can go into a couple of things that I still think need a bit of work before launch. It's not all, this is the best game you're ever going to play. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. It's like, I love PES. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's just my honest feedback on what I played. So yeah, it's a lot different than PES 2019. I think from talking to you especially, and how hype and passionate you get about little things. I call them little things, but it adds up. Like I think you will love PES 2020 if it stays similar to what I played at E3, because you're not just going to be able to fill your team based on what I played, and obviously I didn't see online or that. But even in a Master League, which has been retooled and remastered, you're not going to be able to fill your team with just speedsters. So there's going to be a role in your squad for somebody like Busquets or Toni Kroos or Modric, who mightn't be the fastest, mightn't be the strongest. But when they get on the ball, you know if you're under pressure and you spray the ball at pace to Kroos, he's going to control it better than, say, somebody like Kante or somebody like that that's kind of, you know, just buzzing around midfield. Technique is a big part of PES 2020 compared to PES 2019. Yeah. It's worlds ahead. It's worlds ahead. And then there's so much, man. Just jump in here at any time because keep talking. Like there's so much different PES 2019 and PES 2020. Like the physicality, I don't know, did the physicality and the weightiness of the players come through brilliantly on the streams and the footage? But the physics of the players, and when the players bounce off each other, it's like I can't go back and play PES 2019 now. I played like 3 or 4 games since I came home, and I'm like, oh, that's enough. I'm sick of it, because like you're running into a tackle, and you're like, oh, if that was PES 2020, Piqué just put his arm across Messi and shove him off the ball.
And now they're just rubbing.
Yeah, now it's just like jostling each other with nothing happening, and the faster player will always. Like I scored about 3 or 4 goals with Messi where I cut inside, lovely, like realistic Messi cutback, switched onto my left foot, right foot dummy, cut inside, defender will come across, and Messi just literally pushes him out of the way, finesse shot, curls around the keeper, bang. And it just flows so much better than PES 2019. The animations, the way they link together from touching, you know, first touch, getting the ball out of your feet, dribble, pass off. It's just phenomenally better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, as I said, jump in anytime because I'll just keep.
Yeah. Now it sounds so good to me because I was really afraid because from what I've read, a lot of people are not happy about PES 19, but I like it. To me, it's like a more realistic approach. I was really afraid that it would be an arcadey-ish approach, a more casual approach with less contextual stuff, with more sticky dribbling and stuff like that, you know, just to get it, more for the global audience. And then when I saw the announcements of this game and I saw that they went even further in the stuff I like for PES 19, I was so happy. Sometimes I'm just afraid to be happy, to be honest. But that's really how I feel about the game. Yeah, sorry, man.
Again, as I've said to a lot of people, like there's no problem if PES isn't for you. Like there's no problem if you prefer different games or whatever. But I think I agree with you. I think that the direction that they've gone by making these things matter, make a first touch matter, make somebody's dribbling skills matter more than it just being like, I know we always talk highly of PES 4 and PES 5 and PES 6. Like I absolutely love those games. But the dribbling was pretty much super glue to the foot. Like it was, it worked back then, and the tricks worked with a button press, and you could do the step overs and the cutbacks and all that, and the dummies. But I like the fact, you know, that PES have gone in the direction of inertia, and the more realistic, for me, like being selfish, the more realistic PES could be, the better. You know, and to bring that into it. But I think they've hit a nice sweet spot with PES 2020, where the physicality, the pace, the ball physics in PES 2019 were superb. They're even better in 2020. They're just like, there was some of the first touches that I was seeing there, and they were just like, you were like blinking your eyes. You're like, what am I actually watching here? Like Ronaldinho is after taking, and there was a clip in one of the streams. Ronaldinho took a touch, and he took, you know, like one of the boys that was controlling him. I don't know, was it Robbie or it could have been Joao or someone? Literally, like took the first touch with the first touch control, and he just controlled it with the outside of his foot. Like that happens so many times when you press the first touch control buttons. It's a new kind of. It's just an extra little like thing there that it's like, okay, the ball is being passed to me very strongly here, or very fast. You're going to have to take a touch if you want to set up yourself on goal. And it won't work all the time. It won't work that it's like, okay, I'm going to take a first touch at Messi and I'm going to leave my man for dead. But it gives you that little choice of, am I going to beat this guy for pace, or am I going to slow it down and then up the pace when I want to pass it off or run off him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, especially for somebody like you who appreciates a lot of the smaller details of football coming together for the bigger experience. Like PES 2020 to PES 2019, it's like a completely different step up that has made me not able to play PES 2019. That's pretty much the best way I can do it. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying this just to hype it. I enjoyed PES 2019, but I can't play it anymore because I played too much of PES 2020.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so many little things in PES 2019 that isn't in PES 2019, or there's so many things in PES 20 that aren't in 19. So it's kind of like back.
I can really hear your genuine frustration, man.
Yeah. I'm like an addict now at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, more.
No, but what I really love that all the things you say, but I also like it in conjunction with the stats, the abilities. With PES 18, what they said for PES 19 was that they stretched it a bit, like 80 kicking power versus 90 kicking power. The difference was bigger. Like I had a my club player in PES 18 that had like 84 dribbling, and then you have someone with like 88 or 90 dribbling, and there was not much difference. And when I played like PES 19, you feel much more of a difference. Like the scaling seems to me be much wider, which I actually really love, because I can get really hyped when a player has like +4 on kicking power or something, you know, just to have that extra bam. I really love that, and you can really feel that. I even tried it in training mode, and yeah, there really is a difference, and I love that. I love to have all that kind of individuality. But about ball physics, like well, we have the new Regista ball here, which I really like. Nice. I really like the colors. Is that I love the freedom of the ball physics already in PES 19, and for you to say that it's even more free in 2020 is insane to me, because PES 18 was like, whoa, this is kind of free, and this has never been done before. And for PES 19, my thoughts were like, whoa, it can be even more free. Yeah. This is how a football is.
Like some of the clips, like I was literally pausing it and going back into replay and being like, looking at Robbie or looking at one of the Konami guys and being like, please, can I record this? Like, just can I just actually show this?
But you couldn't,
because like I said, like I might never see this again. Do you know? I was like, I have to. This is like just a step up, especially the way that the top class players, and it ties into what you were saying about like having a dribbler with 80 stat or 90 stat with something like dribbling or something like that. The top class players, like Coutinho was unreal in the game to control the ball. Yeah, that's just amazing. Even I would even say he was kind of better than Messi with his style, with his actual player ID.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. Like you could just literally hammer the ball at him at any height, and you hold the first touch, and he'd control it with his outside of his foot. He control it with his knee. He control it with his chest. He control it with his like his it was like his tie. He was the best. Like I used to love passing the ball to him. Mbappe was another one. Mbappe is just unbelievable in the game, and he is fast. He's like 97. I think he'd like 97 pace or something, which is ridiculous.
Holy.
But it's not even his pace in the game. It's his actual explosiveness. So when he goes from stopping with the ball to receive it, to choosing which direction you want to go with him, and then putting the power down and the sprint button and just zoom, like gone. He's even like Aubameyang looks slow compared to him, so that's going to frighten a lot of people that play my club.
Yeah, would you say that the speedy players stand out more?
Yeah, like there's no, from what I played at E3, there was no, they've completely retooled the Piqué turning into Speedy Gonzalez. Like there's no like catch up bug, there's no catch up speed. If you beat a player, you've beaten a player, like in this. So like Mbappe was getting through on goal. Now whether that will change by release, I don't know. Whether it's kind of too easy to rip teams apart and then be true on goal with Mbappe. But that comes into the new defensive tools at your disposal then as well, that you just need to be able to hold X. Like if you're holding the pressure button to tackle, Piqué can just put his arm across Mbappe, and even though Mbappe might be like a yard or two ahead of him, if you just get that arm across him, you can kind of shield the ball or shield the space between Mbappe and the ball. So you take Mbappe out of his sprint, which lets you recover, which lets you trap the ball, and which lets you defend it. So Mbappe is a rocket in the game, but he's not game breaking from what I played.
Yeah, exactly.
Because last year in PES 2019, as we mentioned earlier, you could be like perfectly 50-50 between a ball and somebody like Van Dijk, who's quite quick in the game, especially the featured version of him in my club, with Mbappe, like, and the two of them would just be running at the same speed, shoulder to shoulder, with no physicality or nothing, like slowing each other down. So it would always be the faster player, or the defenders would always have the advantage, and it would kind of be like a fake advantage, because it's like there's no way that somebody like Mertesacker should be catching Mbappe. Do you know, it's kind of like, how would he catch him? How would Mertesacker defend Mbappe in real life? Or how would Van Dijk defend somebody like that in real life? And it's like physicality, reading where the ball is going to go, getting his body in between the ball and where Mbappe wants to go with the ball. So they've definitely brought that in, and it's definitely like, it's such a step up defending. I love defending more than attacking, if you believe that. I love defending in PES. I love shutting out teams. Like, I would rather shut out a team and score one goal than beat somebody 4-0. or 5-4. I love being able to like stop somebody from doing what they want to do rather than score at will. That's just the way I am playing PES. I don't know why. I just love being able to get into somebody's head and saying, you're not scoring today, or if you score, it's going to be a mistake or an unforced or a forced error or something like that. So for me, the defensive side of PES this year is just brilliant, especially with the new animations.
Like the players, defenders seem to have more reach.
Definitely, yeah. And more intelligence. They actually seem to realize, okay, I'm on a football pitch here. I have to stop this little circular ball from going into the goals. Like, they don't seem to be just out in the pitch now with like running around like headless chickens. There's definite shape to them, even when you're not controlling them. The AI, it still needs a bit of work. But the AI, the shape of the defenders and all that is completely different. Like they hold their lines, they close off gaps themselves. If you're holding an anchorman for the last like 3 or 4 years, if you were playing defensively and you're having anchorman in your team, you'd still have to manually pull back the DMF into that little space between the two centre midfield or centre backs. In this one, when you're defending, he does it automatically. So you don't need to position your DMF manually. The tactics do it for you now. So it gives you a helping hand defensively, which is a huge thing for defensive minded players. So hopefully it stays similar to that by launch.
I really love your enthusiasm. You're bouncing around in subjects. Yeah. I'm here like, okay, I have all the subjects. We're going through everything, and you're like, bang, 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 bang.
You need to rein me in. I'm fucking losing it here.
Yeah, you really are losing it, but I like it because that means you're really genuine about it. And but yeah, okay, well, I'm just sitting here like you were talking about ball physics, and I just wanted to tell something really funny about the free ball physics, and that was one moment because the ball physics are so good and really calculated. The ball physics are not like on a string and stuff like that. There was one time where the ball had like this huge backspin, but it didn't really get into the air, and instantly with the backspin it just bounced back to the player's feet, and there were guys saying, okay, this is scripting. The ball is just teleporting back. While it was just a perfect crazy backspin, you know, and stuff like that. And it's just so I love it. But let's try to get on the points. So we already went to defending. Defending seems to have a lot more reach, but one thing I want to know about defending is that when you have someone like Mbappe and he just runs past you, when you double tap X, right, you can now even when you are like 1 meter next to him or behind him, he will try to intercept it, right?
Yeah, and not just with his feet, even as well. You can like, you've seen the last ditch tackle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can do that, but you can also do it that when you pretty much when you're holding X now, you don't need to double tap it to make contact with the player and dispossess him. So you can just kind of hold X, and it goes into this kind of, it's like a jockey type animation or jockey type situation where if the player is stronger, if the defender is stronger than the player that they're jockeying, you're going to win the ball 9 times out of 10. So it adds a bit of a skill to defending. And then, as you're saying as well, like the defenders have more reach to trap the ball and stuff. So they'll block the ball with their knees, or they'll block the ball with their other, like their standing foot. If the ball is going like an inch or two left of them or inch or two right of them. So there was a few times where I saw that where like the AI was taking a shot on me. So say Aubameyang was taking a shot, and Piqué, I'd go in with a standing tackle with X, and Piqué would kind of throw himself at the ball. Instead of just standing up and putting in a standing tackle, he'd like throw himself in front of the ball. So there's a lot of it contextual, and there's a lot of it that they're trying to stop the ball first and foremost.
Yeah.
Of where the attacker wants to put it. So yeah, defending, I get excited about defending, so I'm going to have to like, I'll try to stay on topic, because I get very excited about the defensive side of the game, because I played about 10 matches in a row over there with different people, and I don't think I conceded more than 2 goals in about 10 games.
Ooh.
Because I was literally focusing on defending. Now, I didn't score that many. There was a lot of draws, but I was focusing on, okay, if I want to shut out somebody, I want to shut them out properly. And I was able to do it because I was packing my defensive line, and I was really concentrating on space and really concentrating on pushing people out to the wings. So yeah, what you're saying about the last ditch tackles and stuff like that, they're more seamless now. So if you do enjoy defending, it is going to be a big step up from PES 2019. You feel like you've more control. I think PES 2019, I don't know, would you agree, but I think PES 2019 was built with the attackers in mind. Like, I think it was an offensive heavy game, and the build up play and all that. I think PES 2020, it's still not built for a defensive, like with a defensive at the forefront, but I think the gap has narrowed. That's probably the best way I could stay going before I talk another hour about it uninterrupted. So.
Yeah, well, when you talk about Mbappe being faster, I can see people thinking, "Uh-oh," you know, like "Uh-oh." But of course they try to balance it, and with all the new systems, with the defending and the extra reach the player has and all the physicality, well, that can balance things out again.
Definitely.
And
like the player that scored, the player that gave me the most trouble over in E3, anytime I played against him, was Luis Suarez.
Oh.
He scored the most goals against me. I don't remember Mbappe. I don't remember conceding that many goals against Mbappe. Like, he might have scored 1 or 2 each day. But Luis Suarez, it's like when I close my eyes, I can picture all the fucking celebrations he had against me. He was just banging them in from everywhere and like shoving me off the ball, bullying me up front, bullying Arsenal's defenders. Or
that's an interesting one.
Luis Suarez was pretty decent now. Even against the AI, himself, Coutinho, and Messi linking up front. A lot of it went through Suarez. Like, a lot of it went through Suarez because he was getting the final shot. So Messi might square it to Suarez to score, or Coutinho would cross it for a header. Suarez would take a couple of long-range shots. So I don't know whether that's something to read into, but
it's an interesting one because Suarez, of course, has a little bit of ball control and dribbling, but he's also a very physical player.
And he's slow.
And he's kind of slow, yeah.
So
yeah, but looking at gameplay footage, I found that. He was very smooth in his first touches, in his dribbling, versus this year. Anyhow, what I really liked about what Adam said during the live stream was the way they always try to make it enjoyable for the player, of course, with the less input delay, and it needs to be responsive, of course. But what I really like what he said next to that was that, when a player doesn't have the time to react, then he will first try to finish his move, of course, which I really, really liked. That he said that, because you can, of course, make a game super responsive, and it skips half of the animations, you know, and it just starts into a pass. But he was really embracing the contextuality of it. That when a player doesn't have the time and you press pass, it will try to pass as fast as it can.
Yeah,
but it's not. Yeah, when a player just can't pass on his stance, then he won't pass, of course, instantly.
I get you.
And that's what he said, and that's stuff I really like to hear, because that is what makes me very happy. Because sometimes I play with people on PES 19 and they have the most ridiculous body control, and they are like, I press pass, but it doesn't instantly pass. But I'm like, but if you were that player in real life, would you be able to instantly pass?
Yeah.
And I like that they still go for that, but they try to just make it's like the responsiveness, like you say, they feel more weighted, but it's not like sluggish, unresponsive, right?
No, exactly.
but it's still that contextuality and just see what you see on the pitch, right?
Yeah,
see how the players are, and
there's a more methodical approach when you get on the ball now than PES 2019. It's not like, okay, I'm being closed down instantly in PES 2019. I have to get rid of the ball. So you're spraying the ball around, quick touches, quick passes. Now it's kind of like, okay, I'm out in the wing with Messi. Let's slow down. Let's slow down here and see what's on. Let's make Suarez run in. Let's see where Coutinho's going to go. Let's see where, who's running forward from Barca. Is it Vidal? Is it Rakitic? Is it Arthur? Is it somebody else? And you have that split second for more options to open up. It's kind of like with the older PES games that it's like, okay, I don't have to get rid of the ball here because there's 3 players.
Yeah, you feel like you have more time.
Yeah, there's a little bit more time to do something. It's not like you can sit down and have a cup of tea time. Like, it's not that slow. But it's also not literally like, wolves chasing you down with their tongues out, like ready to feast, because you have that little second to, okay, let's see what runs are on. Let's see what space is there. Do I dribble? Do I pass? And Messi was unbelievable for doing that when you were playing against him with the AI and superstar difficulty. He'd always make the right option. Like, he'd never... He'd like... And I think Messi came across really well in the streams. He'd take you up the wing. He'd pass it off instantly if he thought that was the best option. That is something that I think, again, it's a more methodical approach to attacking. So it's not like... Even PES 2019, if you're playing co-op, and I know you've played a lot of co-op, if you're playing 3v3 co-op, it's literally like 6 players chasing the ball at any given time. So it's or 9 players.
Normally 2v2, but
so it gets manic. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's why I was so afraid for what you said, because we sometimes play with like players that can also defend up front.
Yeah,
simply to rush to the ball and have a better ball winning, and you can, of course, some players just try to get rid of the ball, but then PK makes a turn and then you can press him, and then it's just a easy 1v1. That happens a lot on PES 19. So when you say that PK needs more time, and with the online lag possibly, that sounds a little bit
we'll see. But again, that'll be a thing where people will have to learn, and I'd rather people learn that, okay, I'm not going to be able to receive this ball with PK and be comfortable under pressure. Because if Liverpool in real life were pressing Barcelona and you're pressing PK, like, and you've got 3 fast strikers pressing, you are going to overturn the ball. Like, you're not going to be able to play out from the back as comfortably as you would. So hopefully that just translates down along to when you're playing a Master League with a 2nd division team, that your players at the back will have a little bit more time on the ball if you've got a good ball playing centre half. But I did get caught a few times with PK. I'm not going to lie. I was passing it back to PK and I was like, grand, I'm comfortable. And then Mbappe is just boom, pounced on him, took the ball off him, and bang, from 20-30 yards out. So we'll see. There's a couple of things, obviously, to keep an eye on before launch, especially when you bring in an online aspect to it. It's like the Wild Wild West. You don't know what people are going to play like online. There is some people, and there's some people that I even talked at E3, that every time they get possession of the ball, they want to score. They don't want it to be a difficult thing of scoring. It's kind of like these guys playing Fortnite or Black Ops. They want to get 20 kills every game. And it's like, I want to score every time I get the ball with Cristiano Ronaldo. I should be scoring 10 goals a game. And it's like, that's not realistic. That's not how real life works. And I know it's a video game, but, it's meant to be realistic. So,
when I went to the Schalke Arena for the PES 19 press event, of course, it's press that is there. Lots of press websites, media sites. But there was one guy sitting next to us, and he played on the lowest level, and he just picked Lionel Messi, and he was like already 13-0 in front, and all he did was just run towards the goal, and then tap-ins, easy tap-ins, just constantly. And I checked what he was writing for which website, and then a few weeks later I saw the review and he was like slamming the game. He was negative all around, and I was like remembering what he did and how he played, and he wasn't playing at all. He was just dribbling with Messi, and I was like, okay,
God,
well that has a lot of depth to it, you know.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
So, yeah. But yeah, apparently he didn't have fun tapping it in with Messi.
God.
So yeah, that's why I love to get a feel for it. Like it's hard to explain things. Like you say you need more time with Piqué, or you have more time on the ball in attack, and you can get your options out there, but you don't have time for tea. You know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. It is hard.
The feel.
Yeah.
To it. But we are at 0.3 of 200.
I skipped ahead about 300 points.
Exactly.
I tend to do that.
I wanted to talk about the contextuality of shooting, passing, kicking, like the way you have to get your body right. I want to go to footage. I want to mix it a bit with like the keeper saves and stuff like that. Some people felt like the keepers were less good, but yeah, seeing Oliver Kahn, of course.
The keepers don't catch that much now. They parry a lot of stuff, especially finesse shots. Like you'll see even the long range drives there with Suarez.
Yeah.
Is he going to catch that ball? I don't know. Like that's another one. He's kind of jumped before the shot is even off. But there was a lot of good movements from the goalkeepers. I wouldn't say that the goalkeepers were worse.
Okay.
You couldn't round them. You couldn't chip them as easily as PES 2019. But they did parry a lot of shots. That is one thing I will say.
Yeah, they seem to react very well to even on one-on-ones.
It depends what way. Like if you see any of these clips that we're watching here, there's very rare that the keeper will parry it into the box again. Like it's usually like there's, just as I said it, there's one that is notorious for happening in PES 2019. I didn't see that much of that. It's usually like that shot there that we saw, pushed it out behind the goals.
Yeah.
I think the reason that they've done it, and there's another one, I think that they've done it this way to make goalkeeping more exciting, without it causing you goals. So in PES 2019, they'd either catch it with this like really weird superhuman animation, or else they'd push it back into the 6-yard box and it would be a simple tap in. I think in this they've said like, okay, this shot isn't going to go in, and he could have caught it, but he's going to do like some sort of weird, like, or not weird, but some sort of like mad save. Like every keeper is David De Gea, controlling it with, like, saving it with their feet. So yeah, I would disagree with people that said the goalkeepers were worse. Obviously, everyone has their own opinion on watching the footage. But yeah, as you said, I definitely agree with you that the keeper's reaction, they don't look like they're kind of rooted to the spot anymore. They look like they're anticipating the ball.
Definitely.
But yeah, again, it's like with everything in any game. Everything can always be better. Like everything can be improved. But I think that the goalkeepers are fine. Like I didn't lose any match where the goalkeeper. There was one issue with the goalkeepers that I don't know if it's in that many of the clips here, but when the ball would come in high, like a high trajectory, from a corner or something, there was times when the goalkeeper he'd punch it, but the ball would go in over his head, so it would go behind him. So he'd punch it behind him. But it literally only happened me 2 or 3 times. And even out of those 2 or 3 times, like I only conceded a goal maybe once. So that's just something, again, like without being, as I said, like without being kind of like, oh, this is, PES is the best thing ever, it can do no wrong. Like you have that attitude. Like I'm not a fanboy that doesn't see flaws. But I didn't have any issue with the goalkeepers at all. So
okay. So when the ball comes in high, he still tries to punch it away, but he missed it at a certain time.
Not even that he missed it. He'll punch it, but the punch will go, the ball spin, the new ball physics, I think. Behind. So if you imagine punching the ball out, it kind of skims off the top of his hand and puts a backspin on the ball. So when it's up in the air, it goes backwards behind him.
Okay, to be honest, I like that. I don't like that that happens, but I like that it can happen if it makes sense, because it speaks words to me that the ball physics are free. You know,
definitely.
I mean, it is a fluke. It is a glitchy thing, you know, that it goes on top of his hands while he punches it, and then it backspins off and stuff like that. But that really shows how free it is.
But it happens so rarely compared to the amount of shots that
of course.
taken. But again, like a lot of this is a good clip that you've put together here, because there's a lot of different types of saves. There's saves where he makes himself big. There's saves where he punches it. There's saves where he punches it out a bit. You know, like this one with Ronaldinho is quite nice because he kind of makes himself big. And then you have a couple of finesse ones as well, and close ones where he punches it well out into the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different animations that the goalkeepers have. I definitely haven't seen them all, even after playing 20 hours or so. They were doing some stuff, like even between shots and stuff, they're kind of like repositioning themselves in the goals that they wouldn't just do in PES 2019. So say if Messi picks up the ball out in the wing where there's kind of no danger, the goalkeeper would kind of reposition himself to the side of the goal that Messi's kind of running in on, like a keeper would do in real life. Whereas in 19, I think they kind of waited until the player was ready to shoot, and then they tried to save the ball. There's more of an awareness now between the goalkeepers and where the ball is on the pitch. So
yeah, that is exactly what the footage showed me.
And it is interesting watching this back here now. I'm just mesmerized by this clip. I'm just like, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, what I really like personally, sometimes these clips intervene between each other, of course, because there's lots of different things, but just these kind of passes.
Yeah,
I love it, man. Yeah. Just these kind of passes. What I really like, and that's where I want to go now, is the passing. And what I really like about it is that last year we started to have this wind-up shot, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah,
I've never seen it before in any game. Just the fact that when you press shoot so early while the ball is coming towards you, it already sets itself up by winding up and then blasts it home. But I never expected passes to be wind up. Like, why? That's next step again.
Yeah.
I really love it. And why do I love it? For the simple fact that when you play PES 19 and you stand still, like here, and you want it to go all over there, well, his momentum shifted left.
Yeah.
But when you pull your power bar the highest and you want to get there, well, then it will just do a simple cross like it would normally do. But now, even when standing still, you can this is another passing style, but you can wind it up. He will try to wind it up. It will take more time, of course, and it might even call it you out, but that's
it. Yeah, he opens up his body. Like, that's a perfect example there.
It's just all those extra steps, you know. He needs the extra steps because he needs that power. And
it looks so nice. And there's another one direct there.
But that's also a new one. The way and the trajectory of the ball. What happens there?
It as well, like what we were saying earlier. He overpowers that, you know. So there is that little bit of a skill gap now as well. There's another one. That's nice.
I love these because they are so steady on the ground. These are new controlled low passes. And the way he controls his body, you know, I don't know if I can't really go frame by frame, but the way he controls his body, I love that new animation, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. When you break it down like this, there's a lot of those passes that they're just opening up their body.
And what I loved about David Beckham, to kind of bounce around in this passing thing, is that, well, firstly, he seems to have another body style. He seems to be a little bit more, how do you say it? Janky, lanky? But what I loved about that for the player ID is that even normal crosses, he does his Beckham style. not only the early cross like this. This is just a high backspin pass, or like PES 15. PES 15 used to only have this passing style, but normally this style of crossing he would only do for early crosses, like the L1 circle or L1 square, whatever your settings are on. But now I see him doing like this, and he's doing it all the time. I like that, man, for the player ID. Just those little things. But also this, like Leo Messi, he wants to get it there. Normally it's just one animation, like it's just the hit. And now it's like that extra, you know?
He just like, he hurries up his feet just to get the pass off.
Yeah, just to get that power.
Set himself. And then the touch with the chest.
Oh yeah, what a control by Coutinho, but that shows all out. But I really like that. And what I also see is that there are a lot of outside of the boot passes, but not like the Quaresma outside of the boot pass.
Yeah.
But just normal outside of the boot touches. I see that a lot, but you will see that also in that. I also like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's just crazy, because when you try to do that, like that far towards that won't get there. It would just be one sweep, you know? And now it's like, chook, bum. And he's really has to step back. And then, of course, the inaccuracy of Suarez, because it's a first-time shot. And I also like that. That's a mishit, of course. How did you feel about all these kind of passes? I mean, I collected so many of those crosses, man, but that's just simply because they feel so good. That's also a new one. There are so many new ones. This felt like a PES 5 passing style when
hurried.
Yeah, when you pass hurried and it's like 1 meter in front of you. The way the body shape is not optimal. This one felt kind of unrealistic to me.
Yeah, that looked a bit weird there now.
Yeah, but I like how they try to morph the animations, because you see the wind-up again, but then it goes to an outside curler lofted pass, and that one looks kind of unrealistic to me.
Yeah.
But once again, these ones are just, they feel so realistic.
Yeah.
Also just viewing it feels like almost sometimes a bit like the gambling game, you know, that they always meme about, that's the new football game. The gambling footage. They also have that. That is what makes it so realistic to me. All the wind-up thingies, and that's just animation, of course, but I really feel it. And there you see it again. That's not even an early cross, but that's just Beckham his style. He can finally do that. You can finally have his player ID on everything, which I just love, and I love how Rakitic intercepts it.
There's like the passing, even just watching it back here, there's
so much, man. Yeah, there's
so many different passing, like tiny little differences, but they're not tiny differences. They're like, they make a big difference to the overall flow of the game. So if you're going to be passing the ball to Beckham or somebody like that you know can pick out a really nice pass, you do give him that extra second to set his feet and to be able to pass the ball at different powers and stuff.
This is the one where I was really about the outside of the boot. This is like those little outside of the boot things. Yeah. I guess it feels more responsive that way, because you have so many. Oh, sorry.
You're talking about passing like I talk about defending.
Yeah, but this is the thing that showed the most on live stream. So
yeah, the passing. Yeah, you're right. The passing. You just kind of it all melds in, like it blends into like a proper like realistic experience compared to like that looks a bit dodgy, or that pass would never make it, or Piqué shouldn't be hitting.
Exactly.
You know, without even taking a step, Piqué shouldn't be hitting that like ball.
But Piqué has pretty good passing, right?
Yeah, true. Even though he has, but you're like, if you're not going to give him a chance to set his feet, or like the wind up, as you said, like it's a lot more dominant this year with the winding into a pass.
I think people will complain, but
maybe.
Basically, because when you do the high power and it doesn't instantly do it because it needs to wind up the shot, which is totally realistic. Yeah, that will frustrate some people, of course. Yeah. It's not for everybody. But I absolutely love it. And I also love it that it even winds up a freaking back heel. I mean, look at this guy. Look, he even winds that up. That ups the realism tenfold to me.
Yeah, and you can put more, you're controlling of how much power you put on it. So when you're switching the ball or making mistakes or something like that, it's going to be your fault if you put too much power in it.
Exactly. It's also a thing of knowing, right? When you put more power, it needs more time, which is totally makes sense. That is how it works. That's science.
Exactly.
And if you know it, then when you put too much power, then it's your fault. Then you had to just do a little pass. Oh, that pass though.
A missed pass. I like that. That was realistic. If that was PES 2019, it just would have went straight back to him.
I also like this one. Did you have this one a lot? Way too wide of an angle, like it's not 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And Felipe Melo, he hits it. He hits the cross, but he falls over. Yeah. Normally that angle you wouldn't get it accurate, but that's also a new animation.
Yeah.
I saw that happening a lot. I also saw that happen with Beckham, but I don't have it in here, where the angle was way too wide actually, but he still got it. He like tried to get around it, and it was not really good, but it still got a little bit of accuracy. There are so many new things, man. It's ridiculous. Was that a right stick dribble?
Yeah, it definitely was. That one right there, just there.
Yeah, that one.
That one just there, yeah. And then to switch on to the other foot. And that's what the players do a lot nowadays. Now in like what I played was that they pretty much like, if they know that they're going to make, if they know that they can make the pass with their weaker foot, and you do a trick with the finesse dribbling, or you do a different like style of dribbling, they'll pass it off with their left foot more naturally now. So it's not like that pass with Suarez there.
Yeah,
he switched onto his other foot because he had done the trick, because his body was set for a left foot pass. And then Coutinho obviously goes in, shifts his position onto the right foot and finesse around the keeper. And when you break it down like we're looking at it here, this doesn't look like PES 2019. Like this looks
not at all. Nothing.
It's even me watching it here.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, look at me. But
no, but I want to check the defender, because some people will probably say, "Hey, what is number 15
that's just
doing?"
Terrible. That's terrible defending by Adam there.
Yeah.
He's just running around headlessly. He should have double tapped X there, and he probably would have stuck out his left foot or right foot. So yeah, we'll throw Adam under the bus for that one.
I'm gonna be so happy, because I know some people that don't really have this depth inside, so they're always like a little bit next to the player, with the defensive. So when they double tap and this player knows to use his hands and stuff like that, we will get so many floorings like WWE.
Yeah, definitely, because if he had double tapped X there, like as in right there, when he just crosses his body, when the both
exactly when they are the closest,
stuck out his hand, and he probably would have like either smacked him in the face by accident, or else.
Yeah, I love that. It will really show the ones that are not really accurate with the running. Oh, that will be good. And I love that passing style. That's also a new one. And even a new thing is Coutinho, his finesse shot there.
And it was ridiculous in the game. He looks so beautiful in the game. He controls so well. Yeah, and even last year in PES 2019, I didn't use him too much, but he's even better in this game. He looks better.
I really liked that there is like one footage of Johan Cruyff. He was always on the bench.
Yeah. Even if you go back there, you can see the difference in pace there from Cruyff. Like if that was PES 2019, I would have probably been able to catch up to him.
Yeah,
I would have probably been able to speed up a little with my defensive player.
The whole movement there. Which I also love is Semedo, I guess. The way he does that.
Yeah.
He tries to block the ball, but this whole dribbling looks completely different. And then weak foot wind up, cross, and then the physicality, like everything, everything comes together. I really, really like that.
Did the manual pass from me out to clear it. Get rid of the danger.
Here,
first time pass.
Oh wow, those are the passes. Well, then let's go to the dribbling. Let's go to the dribbling.
Nice.
The first touch control. Even the 50-year-old Ronaldinho.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I still think, and it's one criticism that I did pass on. I still think some of the little dribbles and some of the skill linked, the way that the skills are linked, I think that they're a tiny bit slow. I won't say that they're unresponsive. I just think that when you're doing a double touch with somebody like Messi, like it's so fast. Whereas in this, I think sometimes it can be just a little bit too slow. It kind of stops the flow and the momentum of the sprint, or the movement of the player. But when it does move and you beat your player, it looks beautiful. But when you're doing it and it doesn't work, it kind of says like, oh, I wish Messi had done that little flick a little bit quicker. That's just beautiful run by Messi. How good does that look? That looked unreal.
That looks amazing. But to talk about the gameplay of the dribbling, the right stick is not just when pressing the right stick. It's not just tricks anymore.
No, it's pretty much like it's actually it's kind of like tight. Like if you're thinking of PES 2019 and you hold L2, I think it is, for the close, the real close control. Mm-hmm. It's like
the close control,
and then the tricks are mapped to it as well. So if you
how do you do the tricks? You hold another button?
No, the tricks are pretty much the right stick as well.
Okay.
You still have the trick system of PES 2019. It's just that they're all mapped to the right stick now.
Okay.
So if you want to do a roulette or you want to do a double touch, you're doing it on the right stick, but you don't need to press any other buttons.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I first thought that the tricks would be like FIFA with the button press and then the right stick, and the close control dribbling would be the right stick, but it's all just the right stick.
Yeah, as far as I was playing, like all the lads are doing there is right stick, and if they hold L2, it slows down the ball even more. So that's all right stick dribbling there, all that there, and then if they want to shift position, they can press the left trigger to stand up the ball. So it's similar to PES 2019, except that the tricks, you've more control over the actual tricks. But I would say that the tricks and skills aren't a massive part of PES. It's not like FIFA where they're predetermined. You can learn them off like combos, and then that's it.
Yeah, thank God, to be honest.
And they're a little bit kind of like. You're better off, as you've seen in these clips, you're better off just kind of, if you get the ball with Messi, you're better off run direct. Messi doesn't do tricks in real life. He just runs direct, makes cuts in and cuts out. He doesn't be doing step overs and flick backs and all that sort of stuff like Ronaldinho might. But there's just some absolutely beautiful direct touches that he makes where the defender will be set up to tackle you, and a tiny little flick, the slightest of touches on the right stick, and you'll just leave the defender for dead and gone. So I think there's one here actually. Like that. You see that foot roll there? Way quicker than they were in PES 2019. And I knew that when I was playing Andre here, he was struggling to defend me, so I kept doing it. And you see there, I eventually get a couple of good chances out of it. But those flicks in PES 2019, those little foot rolls, they just weren't possible to do them at such pace.
Definitely
in the last game. So it will take a little bit
but they weren't even possible to do.
yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of learning in it. There's another one with Messi. Do you see how fast and effortless that was?
And then that pass.
Yeah,
even just everything together. Yeah.
But
I see. And then the shot,
long shot, miles wide,
which I really liked, to be honest.
That just for you.
Yeah, that was. No, but you want to see the trajectory of the shot, of course, and how everything works, and I can get excited from a shot like that. Simply because you see the whole trajectory, and the stance wasn't perfect, and all that kind of stuff. I love it, but just all the quick controls. The only thing for me about the quick control is that sometimes it all needs to morph into each other, of course, is what they said. Yeah. But sometimes it morphs, and it's a bit too instant looks wise. You know, of course, you have to make a mix of it needs to be good to game, of course, and it needs to be responsive. But sometimes it's like so instant that it looks so unrealistic. Yeah. But it looks so good. Next to that,
anyway, it looks beautiful.
Messi looks a little bit too quick on his running animation, and sometimes he's like up and down.
He looks rapid, that makes sense. There and that goal there, that he scored. He looks like he literally just left him for dead.
But look, it's like he's going in front and going backwards.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks a little bit not that smooth. If that makes sense.
Just when he's about to kick the ball, it looks a little bit jarring there.
Yeah.
But then other times, like I've seen other times where, and there's clips that we're just watching here, where he'll take it in his body and it looks so smooth. Like Suarez is the same. It looks so smooth and he just kicks it perfectly as he would kick it in real life.
Yeah.
The pass.
Yeah, not only the pass, but just every... If this is like as responsive as you say, just the also the off the ball, that's off the ball controls, right?
Yeah.
Just moving your body, it everything. It just looks smooth. It looks smoother. Most things look really smooth than the instant. What is that moment?
You see the touch from Beckham even there with the ball physics. Like if you look at Beckham when he basically takes the spin off that and like sits it on his foot, so he like barely touches it. So that would have definitely been whoever's controlling Beckham taking the actual first touch.
Yeah.
And like the first touch is like the controls of it are that like you're holding right stick before you touch the ball, and then whichever way you press the right stick, that's the angle that the player touches the ball. So if you want to control the ball and put it to the left side of your body and you receive the pass, you first touch the right stick left, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the right stick is being used also for the first touch.
Yeah, as far as I remember anyway. Or I could be mixing that up. I don't have the controls in front of me here, but whatever the button is for the first touch control, that's whatever angle you press it at, that's the way that the player tries. Now, it doesn't work every time, obviously, because other things come into rotation. But
yeah, of course,
that's where the player tries to control it the way that you want it to be controlled. So if you want to control it like onto your left foot, you hold left. If you want to control it onto your right foot, you hold right. If you want to control it so that you take the top, put a backspin on the ball, you press down. If you want to put a front spin on the ball and kick it out in front of you, you press up. So, like,
sounds like a lot of freedom.
Yeah, you don't need to do it. Like, I would say that if it was me, again, being selfish, I would love to see it even more realistic.
Yeah.
That actually matters. But you could get away with playing PES 2020 without doing it. But when you do it and it does work, like, it looks so sweet. Like, you like puts a big grin on your face because it's like, I really meant to do that. So I hope that they even, I suppose, double down on it a bit more. Because it would be nice if you could control the ball exactly how you want to control it all the time.
Here is a thing I also said, I think, before recording. These kind of passes in PES 19, just in front of Suarez.
Yeah.
Every time in PES 19, man, if this happens and you're like, okay, he can easily get away with it. In PES 19, he just makes a stopping animation. It's not a full stop animation, but it's he's moving a little bit forward with his body, and then he needs to start accelerating all over again. And this feels so much smoother. Just poof. And he's still on speed, you know. Yeah. And even here, and you see Robbie tapping his sprint button to get it. He's like tapping, and even there, just the sprinting of Luis Suarez, just the first touch and just this.
Takes a bad touch here. See that touch there?
Yeah,
that's the bad touch.
I just love the way they just take the ball with them, even on speed. It's not a little bit stopping anymore. Yeah. And but there's so much. It's like all around the board.
Yeah, there is lots of differences in the overall passing, shooting, physicality, like the core aspects of the game are they're so different. Like it's hard to explain it without actually playing it. That was
but all those points are like that is the game of football, right? Yeah. So that's a pretty big deal, man.
Even there, like, see Messi throwing
physicality.
Iniesta off the ball. Like, literally just that. Messi was doing that the whole time. And he just, like, get out of the way. I'm running with this.
Yeah, he's using both of his hands.
Yeah.
And then that pass is also such a unique one. And that is really like a Messi pass. Yeah. It's hard to see because of this huge Barry in front of it.
My big head.
But that also looks really, really good and new. And then just to see this trajectory and the ball physics. Also just looking at the ball and the way it moves and bounces even when hitting things. And that looks just so much better again. And then we go to the physical side, of course. Of course, you already see physical. This is, of course, the famous one. The famous clip where it happens a lot, where you show it. It reminds me of Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
With but with Nathan Drake, every time when you walk past a wall, then he just puts his hands on the wall, you know, and that's how this looks. Every time you run past a player, they are just bitch clapping each other.
Yeah, it's like, again, like Batistuta there with a cracker, but Suarez plays like that as well. He'll literally try and bully the defender. So if you go in too heavy, if you double tap too much, or you kind of meet it at the wrong angle, you'll foul Suarez. Like, if Suarez has the ball or you go in too heavy or from the wrong side, you will foul him and give away a free. So there's kind of a skill in the defending where you kind of stand off just enough, but you also need to close him down, obviously, because he's going to get a shot on goal. So you'll see it in these clips here, maybe with Suarez. But what do you think of the movement of, like, the players when they get dragged back, like when they're actually tackled, like the physicality? What do you think? Do you think their reactions are realistic?
Yeah, well, sometimes, you can see, let's say, in a gameplay perspective, that there are certain preset animations for the fall. And it's not, that is one thing in Pro Evo that is not like physically calculated. There's not like a physically calculated body mesh or something. It's just that they do calculate the force, which they already do in 19, of course. But when a certain force happens, they try to play an animation, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly how it feels when watching the clips of PES 2020, but it feels like they added some animation. So there's a little bit more variety, and it looks pretty natural, of course. Yeah. And it seems like also the clipping of the physicality seems to be a little bit less again. Yeah. And I love that, by the way. The way he just...
Bitch, get out the way.
Yeah, but just... He tackles him on the foot, and his foot is quite wide here, of course, because he wants to fake, and then that's why he gets off balance, you know? But yeah, that off balancing, that seems to be the same because it already, that animation happened already in a different thing, you know? But the thing in PES 19 was that sometimes the force was a little bit awkward, and then someone gets carried away like 5 meters and falls down. But that seems to be a little bit improved, but you can see a little bit of wonkiness, but it doesn't really affect me, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, it's more that I like to see the force happening and the tackle happening and the end, like the fall, like that. That's the perfect example, by the way, because there you see that the animation starts, but the force doesn't look really like he should be doing that animation.
Yeah. It's almost OTT kind of, I'm going to fall here, so I might as well, like, superhuman dive kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently, or not apparently, it seems like with this physical interaction that there might be some clipping involved, so that the force, like the hidden force, is bigger. than what it actually is animation wise.
Yeah.
So that's why the game calculates it and thinks, okay, this is a very hard tackle. So yeah, then that animation starts, right? Because it's not just a like the competitor FIFA. They have this physics wonkiness, which is really cool to see, of course. In a sense, because it's just calculated when you hit someone on the foot, yeah, then it goes wobbly, you know. The foot goes all wobbly and they fall weird, but yeah, you can see how hard it is for EA and FIFA to do physicality like that, because sometimes it looks like a WWE match, even though that is more calculated. Sometimes it looks also weird, and I don't know if Konami is able to make a system like that on the Fox engine, where you calculate the arms, you know, every force of the arms, legs, and stuff like that. But it doesn't look too bad. Like, this doesn't look too bad. He just falls, the normal fall animation, and I just like how Jordi Alba is doing that. By the way, that's just crazy.
Totally comes across him and get the booking. But at least you have the option now. I know that will be it would be frustrating if you're playing online and you're 1-0 down and you've got four or five of your defensive players that can get booked by doing that, like by taking the man down, by doing that new kind of drag back. But I mean, that's realistic of real football as well. You know, it's kind of a tactical thing. At least you have the option now to take somebody down without actually having to slide tackle them. And again, this clip that's repeating here is the perfect example. It's like I literally like biting at Maradona for a few seconds and then then eventually fouling him.
And I also love Busquets, just the way he has to walk it off, you know. He's like, oh, I'm trying so hard.
And Jordi Alba's like, screw this, I'm just going to take it
down. Exactly. And but I was more talking about gameplay, how it's done more. But in a feeling sense, I just love that there's more physicality, because there actually just wasn't. Of course, you could shoot the ball, and of course you could the amount of headbutts I have received, and just by trying to head the ball, but it hits his body, and then the force is calculated, and then it's a foul, and nothing happens actually. The fact that it's also physical, and you can see that they are automatically using their hands towards each other, and the fact that you can double tap X even when someone is one-on-one and you are like with a defender behind him. I can expect people online to be pulling him down on the trailer, like Vidal does, you know, all that kind of stuff. That gives the defending, which you adore so much, way more dynamic, because that physicality wasn't there. And just seeing what Rakitic does there, all the tiny defensive things, like he uses his foot. I like that. Some people actually don't like that. I was really surprised. With PES 19, you of course see way more defenders just trying to jump in front of the ball, like in real life. When someone shoots on goal, you know, defenders try to jump in front of it. There are people that don't like that, because they think that you as a human must do everything. The CPU shouldn't do that. But to me, that actually is really realistic, and they up their game. Even that is way more advanced from what I see. There was even a couple of animations with the defenders. I think it was, I'm actually not too sure who it was. It could have been, was it Piqué? I think it was Piqué a few times, where there was a finesse shot going in and Piqué would jump at the ball head first. So he'd try and defend it with a diving header. And it was like, I was like... John Terry style?
Exactly, John Terry style. And that was a big thing that came back in the game. That was in the game, like it was a big feature like a few years back, but they haven't even said anything about it this year. But I've noticed it a couple of times where Piqué is like, okay, the ball is going to go past me here. I can't tackle with my heads or my hands, obviously, or my feet or my hands. So I'm going to jump at it and take a wild swing. And literally just like a homing missile, just try and home in on the ball. But the ball, it doesn't work all the time. So like it would just still go past him. But he makes that last ditch kind of let's stop it with my head type tackle. So it kind of looks cool. But I think it was Piqué. I didn't notice anybody else doing it. But again, it does tie into using pretty much all your body parts to defend.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new animations that I'm just seeing here. I'm just watching a lot of these clips back for the first time, so I'm a bit kind of like, see something like that.
Yeah.
That was something that I'm kind of talking about. So he'll jump. I think that was Piqué. Or the guy behind him, he kind of jumped. They both jumped with different parts of their body. So Piqué went in with his legs, Busquets just literally went in kind of
sideways.
Yeah. So, and there's another one.
Yeah, I love this one.
Yeah.
Whoop.
So it's like there's a lot of different things like that where I like that style that Konami are gone for, where it's like, okay, you just don't have your feet to defend with, or you don't have to just pass it around the defender's feet. You have to pass it around his body.
Yeah.
Because I think in PES 2019, as you alluded to, like the players just kind of say, "Oh, I can't get this ball. There's nothing I can do." And it's like, well, there actually is something you can do. You can throw your leg or foot or head or body at it and shift your position. But in PES 2020, they have a much more better awareness. See there, even like he blocks with his arse.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like with his butt. So it's like he turns his back to it, but he still tries to kind of. Yeah, it's nice. I could watch this all day. This defending. This is right up my street.
Yeah, and it's really fun that, to me, the defensive part and the physicality part is like the biggest thing I've seen, even though the passing is way more advanced. Yeah. Every aspect of football is, again, way more advanced and way more freedom and way more tools to use. But just seeing all those tiny tackles and the physicality, I was that was the first thing I said a few weeks before E3. I was saying the thing that stands out the most, which needs improvement, is the physicality, is the defensiveness, and just seeing all that physical struggling with each other. Oh man, that makes me so happy. And to hear you say that really also makes a difference in the gameplay.
Yeah.
Especially as you said that Mbappe and well, even Coutinho, his dribbling and stuff like that they are way more punchy, if that makes sense. That balances it out again, because I think they could do that because now you have the tools to defend that.
Yeah, you can see by this like that there's just enough newness and freshness to the defending, not just user controls or user input. There's also the AI. Like jumping at the ball and defending the ball better. So it's not going to be overpowered if you have a team with Mbappe leading the line, because your defenders are going to try and stop the ball from coming in. So if you're controlling something,
I like this one.
Track the run.
Sorry
You're all right.
He's like karate kicking outside of the boot. He's just trying to reach it. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to. Can I do this on? Whoa, okay, no. Oh yeah, you can actually, right? Yeah, you can.
Slower speed.
This is actually, see? He's outside outside of the boot. I love that. I love the reach you get. I love this.
Yeah, that's what I loved over there. That ties into all the defensive. It's like, okay, that just really happened. That's kind of cool.
And this was just a normal tackle, but it's just the way he does it, the reach, the way he struggles, and then this new passing, what I said about the PES 5 passing, like the final, it's a little bit too much in front of you passing style. And this one also, is he like crouching? He's almost
he crouched on one knee.
Yeah, he's on one knee. Yeah.
What happens crap. when you double tap X just at the right time, and a lot of these things are like contextual. Like you'll see them once or twice in the game, so they don't feel overused. They kind of feel like they would in the flow of a game. There's a lot more realistic kind of defensive presence to the game.
Oh man, it's amazing, and once again the dribbling here. This just looks different. Oh, how did we do that? We did it like that. This just looks different. The way he touches the ball, but also this, bam, that also looks different, because that is way more linear in PES 2019. It feels way more natural. The way he just does
bounce
that.
On it.
Yeah, it has a bounce, but also just the way his body moves. it's more in a corner, like it's chuck in PES 19. And here, every time I saw people dribbling like this, and I play with this camera, so it's not a camera thing. It's just way more smooth again. And
yeah, it is. It looks so much nicer.
And I understand why you can't play PES 19 then, because
yeah.
even I have been watching this for 3 days, every live stream, the Spanish, Portuguese one, the English one. I was just analyzing it live, trying to see all the new animations and stuff like that. And I played PES 19 only after those 3 days, just watching this, and it was just like, God damn it.
Yeah, it is. It's so difficult. Like, it's kind of like, the best way of describing it is like, it's like eating a burger and then you eat a nicer burger and it's like in a nicer place and you're like, okay, I could eat, like, it's grand to go to McDonald's or wherever every now and again.
Yeah, you got something better to compare it to.
Yeah, but you've got something way better and more improved to compare it to. So it's like,
I know.
What can I do? What can I do here? So yeah, it's going to be a long couple of months, but there's just, as like, these are some brilliant clips that you've picked out here. It's good analysis, because it's very hard, I think, sometimes for people to separate. Again, we go back to that common thing or common theme on Twitter where it's like, oh, this looks like PES 2019.
Yeah, but that's every year.
It's not, though. It isn't. And like, it's easy for us to say it because we're hyped about the game and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting too caught up in the hype and making things up here. Like, you can physically see and visibly see the new camera angle is fresh. All these are new animations. The defenders jumping at the ball with their, like, you know, asses and their, like, hands behind their bodies, not to give away a penalty. Like, even there,
yeah,
there's just so much different things that you can't, you know, even like a PES like hater, somebody that hates the series, there's no way that you could say this isn't new, like this isn't fresh.
Definitely.
Whether it plays as well when it launches as it looks here, that's going to be another day's story. But based on what we're watching here and what I've played, it does play as good as it looks here. And there's just so much new things to it that it's like, okay, I'm not going to have to completely relearn how to play PES 2020 if I've played a lot of PES 2019. But if I want to be good at PES 2020, I'm going to have to take a lot of the new stuff into consideration, like the first touch, the new dribbling, the new tackling, the new physicality, the wind-up passing that takes a little bit longer. So yeah, the karate kicks, as we've just seen there. So
yeah, defensively, passing, physicality, defending, so many assets in the game. Of course, it's not a new game, but I think nobody should expect a completely new game.
No, of course, not this year anyway. Not
this year anyway, for the new generation, of course. But I was so happy that it goes in the same direction, but to see the depth being built upon and so much, which I don't expect, to be honest. If I may be honest, my expectations are quite low, but gameplay-wise, seeing all those new things, I'm like, wow, okay, they really did a lot, and they really tried to up it again, and man, every year I'm comparing what they change, and I always do it the same way, just by looking on paper what's new. Well, now we see what's new, and the difference from year to year, of course, it's a yearly product. It's not like The Last of Us where they develop it for 6 years to make it like this perfect adventure game. It's a yearly product, and to see what they change is for me it's uncanny, like. Personally, it's like I don't expect this. This is not what I expect. What I have been expecting for years, and I have been unhappy for years. That's way less than this. That's like, okay, gameplay wise, maybe a new system on paper, you know, that doesn't really work or something like that. That's how I always felt. And now I see things I can really use, and I can be excited about, and seeing all that physicality and seeing so many big things on the pitch. Oh man, that makes me so freaking happy. But we have to go really fast now, to be honest, because my time is almost over. So I like that the shooting angles are also bigger again, and I also saw with the shooting that we even have like these tackling shots that worked.
Yeah.
You can now really reach for a shot and still take it. And also when standing still, I felt that the shooting power was bigger. It was not more accurate, but you had more shooting power. Now when you stand still and you shoot, there's no power at all.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that.
And that's also what I saw. And of course, we have a new thing called the dummy shot. Did you use it?
I did. I used it. I kind of forgot about it for a while, and then I was like, yeah, let's try it out.
Yeah, it's easy to forget.
I use it maybe once or twice a game. It's a nice tool. So basically, you wind up a shot, and instead of auto canceling it or whatever, you just basically press triangle instead of pressing X to pass. Do a fake dummy, and he just passes it off. It's not overly accurate.
Okay.
So it's not going to be, from what I played, if they tune it up or whatever, you won't be spamming it because it takes, obviously it's pretty much for just a last ditch through ball. So if you're taking up a shot and the defenders come out to close you down and it leaves a gap, it's a nice addition to have. I'm sure that some people will use it to get some goals. So again, it just adds a little bit more depth to attacking differently.
Yeah, exactly. It's that last decision. If you think, oh shit, I made a mistake by shooting, and you can instantly see someone that's free and through ball. That's amazing, of course.
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, it's just a mechanic and it's just one button less, like when you cancel the shot, of course. Mm-hmm. But when you cancel the shot, even without fake shooting, just the super cancel, shot cancel, then you cancel the animation.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
And here you even when you wind up your shot and you have a lot of time to even do the dummy shot, you can go from the wind up instantly to the pass, of course, which gives a little bit of more surprise.
Yeah, it definitely adds a little something that if you're playing somebody online or whatever, we can't talk much about online, but if you're playing somebody in a tournament or something and they do it once against you, you're like, oh, he might do it again. So you have to kind of be aware of it, that it's an option now.
Yeah.
So, it's
so simple, but it's something that I can see myself using, because I have times where I am shooting in co-op, for example, and I see my mate is completely free, and I'm like struggling to cancel the shot or to press X for a fake shot and then pass the ball, and I can see myself using it like, oh shit, and instantly using that triangle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself using that, and it's good to have the tools. It might sound like such a small thing, but in general, all those tiny things are extra tools and just helps the flow.
Yeah.
It just helps with, I mean, even with PES 19, there are people that don't even get 20% of the depth of the game. They just play on the surface, the basic stuff, and they have fun.
Yeah.
You know? Exactly. Just to have it, oh man, I love that. I love that extension, that depth, for something for everyone.
Exactly. Give us as much depth as we want, and then whoever wants to use it, it's there. If you don't want to use it, you can just, play on your level 3 pass assist and spray the ball around the pitch.
Exactly.
It should be a mixture for both.
Welcome.
So
it's always welcoming, all those kind of things. And then we have the new abilities.
Oh yes.
So my biggest question is, we have ball control dribbling, of course, but now we also have tight possession. Where does that show? Did you already pinpoint where that show? Of course, in the right stick dribbling, in when you're close towards the defender.
Yeah, the tight possession, as far as I know, and as far as I was kind of I learned over there. Tight possession and balance go hand in hand. Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know whose stats they are, but I would probably think that it's. Let me see. It could be Messi, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say Messi.
Yeah. So like, if you notice there, you have 93 tight possession, 95 balance.
Yeah.
So very, very often you're going to have them two stats kind of aligned, and it's kind of going to be like ball control and dribbling. So on the surface, the tight possession, most visibly, you're going to see it as when you have the ball in close situations. So if you think of somebody like Iniesta when he used to play, or if you think of somebody now like maybe David Silva, that you're going to be able to have the ball like literally tied to your foot, not super glued to your foot, but tied to your foot. So like when you're working in a small radius in like areas of the pitch where you've no space, that they're going to be able to kind of not lose control of the ball.
Yeah. It's the Iniesta stat.
Yeah, it's basically the Iniesta stat, actually. Yeah, that's kind of what I like. You're not, if you get the ball with Piqué, and I always bring up Piqué, I don't know why, but if you get the ball with, say, Umtiti, and he's in front of goal, say you play him up front, he's not going to have tight possession or whatever. He might have strong balance, but he's not going to have tight possession. So he's not going to be able to weave in and out dribbling the same as Coutinho would. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. And that's a big one, to be honest, because players like Coutinho and Iniesta were a little bit under-effective in 19.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see it even in the demo there, or the clips that we're just after watching fresh in our heads. You can see when Coutinho gets the ball in around the final third of the pitch, he's very hard to throw off the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're trying to dispossess him in midfield, you probably can. Whereas when you have that tight possession and you have it in an area of the pitch where Coutinho is lethal, it's going to be hard to knock him off the ball without fouling him. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's a nice stat actually.
Yeah, and I didn't expect them to add stats, to be honest, for this type in the cycle, let's say.
Yeah,
I was very surprised. We must say that this is in US English, so some titles are like curl. Well, that's curve in American, and now in 19, and it's swerve in British.
Swerve, in British.
Yeah. But offensive awareness was attacking prowess.
Attacking prowess, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's offensive awareness. I like that title, to be honest. Yeah. That's better.
Yeah, you can see through the stats. I'd love more stats to be visible on the screen. Like I'd love maybe 3 or 4 pages of individual attributes to really flesh out, because I know that it does drive a lot of the gameplay. But I think that they've pretty much got the basics and like the mastery. If you were to go through any world class player, you could pretty much say that that applies to him. That applies to, like, if you were to take Cristiano Ronaldo, you're going to look down through those and you're going to say, that is how I would describe his entire game. You've got the finishing, tight possession, heading, low pass, acceleration.
Yeah, exactly.
They could add more, but what's the point really? It's kind of an overview of their stats. It's not every single attribute that they have. So yeah, it is an interesting one, as you say, though, the offensive awareness.
I like that they renamed it to offensive awareness, and defensive awareness. Defensive is called now. And I like that they rearranged it. It's so stupid, maybe for some people, but I liked it. The heading is to finishing now. While heading was at the physical jumping. Jumping and physical together. Top speed and explosive power.
Acceleration.
Speed, acceleration, just way more simple, and unwavering balance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit of talk on into it, I suppose, and simplified it.
And I like that stamina is now on the first page. It was always on the second page.
Always on the second page, yeah. Beside form and...
Yeah, and now the second page has all the defensive stuff, because defensive prowess and now awareness and ball winning was always on the first page, like in between set piece, between curl and speed. And now we have defensive awareness, ball winning, like we already had, and aggression.
Aggression, yeah. I like that.
So, yeah, but what did you feel it?
I did, like, I suppose because we were playing with the same teams all the time, I didn't really like Vidal. Vidal felt very, very, very hard. I didn't even check his aggression stat, but Vidal felt very aggressive when he was chasing you down. Like he'd be kicking you, he'd be getting booked, he'd be doing all this sort of stuff. So I actually forgot to check his stats. Suarez was the same. I presume Suarez's aggression was quite high, because I don't know, does it tie in to like the cutscenes and stuff? If you get fouled, is there like cutscenes where they're like pushing the players and stuff?
Oh yeah.
As far as I know, the aggression stat is pretty much defined as when the team is facing adversity. So if you're talking about Master League and you're on a 3 or 4 like losing streak, that the players will stay aggressive, like they'll stay wanting to win and stuff. And that ties into the old, going way back to even PES 6, you would probably remember the mentality stat. So it's probably not fully back there yet to like have the player, if they score a goal or you go a goal down in the first 10 minutes, that some players will drop their heads and some players will like say, let's go, we can get back into this, like a Steven Gerrard type. So the mentality isn't obviously there, but I think that the aggression is probably to showcase that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like, one thing we probably didn't go into, and I know we're caught for time, but one thing I would like to see is the AI foul more. So if that's tied into the aggressiveness and the aggression stat, that could be something that you could give the AI, you know, like more aggressiveness so that they'd foul you more when you're playing the Master League or something.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see by launch. There's a lot of things they could do with it. Messi's is very low there, if that is Messi.
Yeah.
I know he's not an aggressive there.
He's just a cuddly Messi. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know. But and then we have the goalkeeper stats, and what I like is that they globalized it with GK because it was so stupid that you this year you had goalkeeping, GK catch, reflexes, clearing, coverage. And
the reach is a new one there as well. The goalkeeper, well, that's down at the bottom.
That's probably coverage, right?
Yeah, coverage, I would say, yeah.
I think they renamed it to reach, which makes sense because the coverage is like how much you can cover your goal, of course. Yeah. But reach makes more sense and more easy to understand what the stat does. And goalkeeper awareness must be goalkeeping then, because it was actually, if you think about it, it was so stupid that you have a goalkeeping stats and then you have individual
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
like,
just a bit of
what does the goalkeeping stats do then?
It's like goalkeeping is like one stat for like five things, and then you have all the individual ones, so it makes no sense.
But I guess goalkeeping was always the awareness, you know, but now they just renamed the stats. I don't think there's a massive difference there, but yeah, I might be wrong, but they also renamed that, which I really liked, and this is American. This is just called weak foot
non-dominant
usage.
leg.
Yeah, the weak foot accuracy and weak foot usage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of out of time right now.
No bother, man.
What I also like was that you have a +1 for extra time on substitutions.
Nice.
Visually, the kids, people call it a bit wide, but I like where they are going for, in the sense of I feel they readjusted the kids to be loose, like on top of the body.
Yeah, the kids actually look better in game than they look in the match screen. They look a bit baggy. They look kind of like a tubular effect before
the new
game.
Lighting in the pre-match. Yeah,
but the new lighting is like to reflect the kits. So like when we're making some kits this year, there is going to be a lot of testing. Like we do a lot of testing to see what the kits look like in edit mode. Then we see what the kits look like in the match screen. Then we see what the kits look like in daytime and nighttime. So it's not a case of just making a kit, making it red, and like, okay, that's going to be the perfect red for.
Yeah, exactly. Under every lightning condition, it needs to. Shine.
you have to get the most realistic RGB balance. So yeah, just a little bit of technical stuff there, because you can see that the kits sometimes look a little bit dull, but then on a bright day they look a little shiny. So it's just about finding the balance. Even in these kits that are in the demo, they look kind of like dull there, but that's because it's not a sunny day in the demo and the shadows of the pitch and stuff. So
yeah, and what I like about these new kits is that they wave a little bit more. They're not like flag wavy, because that would be stupid. But also,
a couple of ripples.
Yeah, they feel like they are shirts, you know, and they, of course, in PES 19 you could also see the belly sometimes when they jumped, and people went mad over that Messi picture with his belly out. But you can see they might be a little bit more baggy because it feels like they are now on top of their bodies, and the thing about the live stream is you saw a lot of clipping like that.
Yeah.
And that's basically because they feel like shirts now. Like if you see the shorts and even here that clipping, but that is because that short is moving. That short is moving, but you see it the best for this penalty kick, of course. How much the short and the shirt is moving, which is also a great upgrade to me.
Yeah, like it's kind of a thing where, as you said, you want the shirt to be not just painted on. Like you don't want to paint it onto the model so that when the model moves, the shirt moves. You want it to be that the shirt is an individual. And
I feel they try to do that now.
Oh, definitely. They've definitely tried to do that. And that's why I wouldn't even be already. I wouldn't mind if the shirts stayed this way. Maybe get a little bit tighter when they're tucked in.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see that they might have made it a little bit more baggy because of the clipping. Because there is some clipping here.
I agree.
So yeah, they are probably trying to balance it and trying to make it look good.
That looks nice there though.
Oh man, I love that new penalty animation. There's so much we haven't talked about, to be honest. The final thing I just want to say, because I really have to go, is 3D grass.
You love that.
I love 3D grass on this type of thing because how unimmersive it is if you see this.
Yeah.
And just the line, it's just 2D textures. And now we have 3D grass. You can even see the grass on the line. And of course, there is a level of detail because the PS4 wouldn't handle it if this was 3D grass, because you can see it end like here. It ends. This is 2D. So it's only at the beginning of the
picture,
which is logical. LODs, we know how game design works, but I love it. Even around here, you can see it on those lines.
Yeah, it looks lovely there.
Yeah, that you have grass, and yeah, that's very good. And one thing, there might be a full celebration tree slot on L3, which I found. Not every player had that when they scored.
Last year it was just Neymar, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Was it Neymar took off his shirt when you pressed that?
Of course. But there wasn't Neymar in this demo, so there are more players with a full celebration tree. I don't know which one this was, but that was pretty nice. Yeah, and we can talk about the Inspire, which is a big thing, but I really have to go, man.
Let's catch up again.
Yeah, we have to make a part 2, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, thanks for the talk. Finally, because we were about to talk like earlier, or maybe the podcast or whatever, you know. And it's so good to finally talk to you.
Yeah, we'll get you onto the podcast some evening as well.
Yeah.
When things have kind of...
Pardon my English.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed watching this, listening to this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.